What's it like being the son of Ziggy Stardust himself? As it turns out, not so easy, and Duncan Jones is the living proof. In the mid-70s, David Bowie became addicted to drugs and suffered a decline in his mental health as a result. Worse still, Jones was there to witness the whole thing. Years later, David recalled, "My son's seen me through some of the most awful, depressing times when I was really in absolute abject agony over my emotional state, the heights of my drinking and drug taking. He's seen the lot." Jones also experienced his father's turbulent relationship with his mother, Angie Bowie, who lived a similar lifestyle to David at the time. In 2009, Angie admitted to the Daily Mail that she and David just hadn't been compatible as parents, and their many personal issues would often unfold in front of their newborn son. She explained, "It was a parallel universe. I'd take Zoe to the circus and then I'd come home and David would tell me what a lousy mother I was. We were drunk. Zoe was crying in the corner as we screamed at each other." By the beginning of the 1980s, David and Angie Bowie had divorced. This led to a custody battle for their son, in which Angie ended up taking a £500,000 settlement.
What kind of a person would I be if I used my son as a weapon in my tool belt?
Though she had her reasons for allowing David full custody, it apparently left a sore spot for Jones, as it seemed that Angie didn't want anything to do with him, and Jones's resentment for his mother only grew over time. In a 2006 interview with a David Bowie LiveJournal site, Jones fielded questions about his mother and her book, Backstage Passes. After confirming that he had last seen her when he was about 13 years old, Jones was asked if he felt sad about how their relationship turned out. He said, "I don't really have a relationship with her. It's not something I dwell on that much." For her part, Angie shared similar sentiments in a 2017 interview with The Times. When asked if she ever kept in touch with Jones, she responded, "My son? No, why should I be? I'm not interested. It's over. Nothing to do with me."
It hurts me, and when something hurts me, I put it in something in the back of my head and I close the door.
Duncan Jones has admitted that he's not the greatest when it comes to fostering relationships with others. Still, by 2012, Jones seemed ready to take a leap at love when he announced that he and his girlfriend, Rodine Ronquillo, were engaged, but they were soon to face a challenge that would put even the strongest relationship in danger. In December 2012, Jones took to X to announce that he and Ronquillo had married in November of that year, on the very same day that Ronquillo had been diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. Jones tweeted, "We were a little overwhelmed by the news, cancer and election day, so decided to make it a set, ran down to the courthouse and got married. So cancer, election, marriage, all in one day." 2 days later, Roe was in surgery. Jones then updated his followers on his wife's health and their plans moving forward. He wrote, "Surgery went really well, did what we had to do, and were put on a fast track to getting ready for chemo. Thankfully, this story has a happy ending. Ronquillo was given the all clear in 2013 after undergoing a double mastectomy."
My son has helped me grow up an incredible amount, and I hope, in turn, that I'm helping him.
In 2016, David Bowie died of liver cancer. As the world reeled from this news, Jones tweeted, "Very sorry and sad to say it's true. I'll be offline for a while. Love to all." Jones's disappearance from the internet only lasted a week, however, as he returned to share an open letter written by David's palliative care doctor, who had praised David for the bravery he had shown in the days leading up to his death. Since his father's death, Jones has periodically paid homage to him, whether through his social media platforms or his art. On January 10th, 2021, Jones penned an emotional tweet on the 5th anniversary of his father's passing. It read, "Today marks 5 years since Dad died. We are all a little sad, coping individually in our own ways, but it's both remarkable and delightful that Dad is still so clearly loved by so many. Yes, he's missed, but with so much of him and the work he made, he's clearly still here." With David and Angie Bowie facing their own struggles during Duncan Jones's childhood, the young boy turned to another parental figure, his nanny, Marion Skeen. As Angie once recalled, "David and I were away doing drugs, at first together and then later apart. Marion effectively became Zoe's mother. This made it all the more devastating for Jones when, just 1 year after losing his father, Skeen died of complications caused by cancer." Jones took to X a week after her passing to share the news with his followers. Alongside a photo of a young Jones sitting beside David and Skeen, Jones praised Skeen for becoming the main maternal figure in his life. He wrote, "All my love, Dad and Marion. Lost a most incredible woman to cancer last week. She raised me. Without her, who knows what kind of mess I'd be." As the child of a music icon, it's only natural that the public would assume the world of Duncan Jones. That kind of pressure did a lot of damage too, even if Bowie tried to prevent it.
I probably went to fairly great lengths to make sure he didn't get thrown into all that, you know?
In 2012, Jones told The Standard that he had struggled with living in the public eye during his childhood. He said, "I was massively geeky, we traveled a lot, and I was painfully shy. And of course, I had the burden of a lot of people's preconceptions about who I was." Hoping to distance himself from his father's reputation, Jones changed his name, first from Zoe to Joey and later back to Duncan. Meanwhile, the weight of his dad's legacy also seeped into Jones's school life. While attending the prestigious Gordonston boarding school, Jones literally slept through his A-level exams, which are the UK's pre-university academic qualifications. In 2006, Jones told the LiveJournal page, Pallas Athena, how furious he had been about the whole ordeal and how lost he felt at the time. He said, "My dad wasn't happy. At that point, I had no real interest in academia. I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. I didn't know where I was going, and A-level seemed an utterly arbitrary and unimportant thing in my life." Jones was expelled from Gordonston as a result. After that, he decided to travel to America. There, he found his passion in philosophy, and then later at film school back in London. As Jones put it, "I needed space to grow up." In 2009, Duncan Jones made his directorial debut with Moon, a movie that was met with widespread critical acclaim for its creative direction and emotionally driven story. Moon follows an astronaut who experiences an identity crisis after 3 years of isolation on Earth's moon, and Jones has highlighted the parallels between this work of fiction and his personal life. Moon was inspired by both the lack of direction Jones felt after leaving school and a long-distance relationship he was going through at the time. During a 2009 interview with Psychology Today, Jones explained, "I think the film kind of asks the question, what would it be like if you met yourself? And over time, I think I've become pretty okay about myself, but it did take a long time." Even Angie Bowie saw the close similarities between the protagonist of Moon and her own son. Speaking to the Daily Mail, she said, "When I saw the film, I realized how alone Zoe feels. It's painful and heartbreaking." In 2012, Duncan Jones began work on Warcraft, the first film adaptation of the hugely popular Warcraft video game series.
For Azeroth! For Azeroth and the Alliance!
Given its significance for gamers everywhere, this project proved to be Jones's most ambitious yet, as he had to satisfy the needs of veteran fans as well as those who had never heard of the franchise. Unfortunately, Warcraft was met with harsh reviews and suffered a lackluster box office performance when it was released in 2016. And while he may not regret directing the movie, Jones doesn't look back fondly on the 4 years he invested in it. With his wife being diagnosed with breast cancer in 2012 and his father dying from liver cancer in 2016, Jones dealt with 2 major life-altering events while making Warcraft. In addition, Jones admitted to Thrillist in 2016 that the creative process for the film had been especially difficult due to cuts mandated by the studio. He said, "Trust me, if anyone is frustrated about the pacing of the film and how that turned out, it's me. It's not because I didn't know what was happening, but as I said, death of 1,000 cuts." Speaking to Vanity Fair, Jones admitted that the experience of making Warcraft left him beaten and bruised. It wasn't all bad though, as Jones was able to screen a cut of the film to his father shortly before his death. Jones told the Daily Beast, "You know, for everyone else he was one person. For me, he was my dad, and he was always interested in things I was working on. So I showed him what I was working on, and he was all excited for me and happy that I was doing the thing that I enjoyed doing in my life." Though the making of Warcraft had been a difficult experience for Duncan Jones, he didn't let that stop him from working on more films. In 2018, he released the sci-fi movie Mute, which starred Alexander Skarsgård and Paul Rudd. And just like Moon, this movie touched on several themes from Jones's personal life, including parenthood. The film follows Leo, a man who lost his ability to speak due to a freak childhood accident. His mother's refusal to allow him to undergo reconstructive surgery ultimately left him with his condition.
He doesn't need words. He's kind.
In an interview with The Times, Jones noted that the movie questions the complexities of parenthood, stating, "What do parents try to do in order to protect their kids?" Jones also explained that the film was dedicated to his father and to Marion Skeen. As Jones said, "There was another thing that Dad said about putting yourself a little bit deeper in the water than where you can reach the bottom with your toes. That's what I did with Mute. I made a film which was a little bit uncomfortable and unexpected, and darker than people might be expecting." On July 10, 2016, Duncan Jones and Rodin Ronquillo welcomed their son, Stenton David Jones. 2 years later, the pair had a daughter, Zoe Tala Mabsy Jones. While Jones has loved tackling the challenges of fatherhood, he has also been transparent about his shortcomings. During his 2018 interview with Vanity Fair, Jones noted the struggles he faced maintaining his career obligations while still being an attentive parent. Fast forward to 2019, and Jones took to X to share his thoughts on parenting. He wrote, "I have 2 kids, 2.5 years and 9 months old respectively. respectively. I'll tell you something I never see anyone admit. They are exhausting, frustrating, and life destabilizing. They are rarely fun. Jones elaborated on all this in another lengthy tweet, albeit one with a more optimistic sentiment. He said, "It's exhausting. It's banal. It's like looking after a dog you can't house train. What it is that it is. And they are mine. Hopefully they turn out okay.